Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jeremy.
Okay, excellent. So my question, well, first of all, I've got to say these are your business objectives and business opportunities are my favourite business English books. They're very, very good, and I used them for years and years and years until people complained that they were that I was using them too much. My question was, what happened to you before you wrote those books? How did you get to the stage where you wrote those books? Some idea about what's happened after you made those books. There was another part to my question as well, but I guess that's enough to start with.
To explain that story, you actually have to go back to the book before, which was called In at the Deep End. And what had happened was I was working in Cambridge and I had an insane job. I was working at a language school and teaching. We were getting executives in, largely from Europe, and they were coming on short 2-week courses. But in addition to that, I was also responsible for getting all the books and materials that the teachers were using together in the school. And also on top of that, I was often doing the timetabling, so trying to make sure that I had a teacher sitting in front of each student on a Monday morning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So in that context, it was the late 80s. Europe was gearing up for a magic date, which was 1992, when lots of trade barriers were going to come down. So I was having enormous problems finding enough teachers, and it was just business English just wasn't very, very common back then. I mean, these days we think of it as pretty standard fare, but it was pretty unknown then. So I could get, though, lots of really good general English teachers who hadn't got experience in the business background and didn't necessarily understand what the students were after, but they were going to be good teachers. So I kept writing little tasks that would enable the students to perform what they were doing in class. And then the teachers could pick it up and teach whatever seemed appropriate. And so I wrote these little tasks, and that became In at the Deep End. And then as a result of that, OUP said, right, we'd like to commission you to write another book, which was Business Objectives, and then Business Opportunities followed on from that. So that was sort of the start of it, really, for me in the business English writing. Has that answered the question?
Yeah. Oh.